Here's the common question which I ask all of the speaker, all of you, is please give one key recommendation on how to start a startup in COVID-19. Yeah, I'm starting with Mr. Alexa. Yeah.
Well, my answer is very easy. Don't think too much and just begin. What we see, and especially here in Germany, but I see it in a lot of other countries, the problem is that a lot of people think about what can go wrong. And of course, this is an absolute valid question. You should always think about what can go wrong, because then you can prepare for what can go wrong. But
Yeah.
what I very often see is that people, they don't stop thinking about the problems. So they go on and go on and go on, and then the business plan, it's 90% ready, but it must be 110%, and it's 95% ready, but that's not enough, and it goes on and on and on, and the product is not good, and the team is not good, and everything is not good, and they forget to start. And my advice always is start. I think the key thing that founders are able to do is they figure out solutions to problems. And let's be honest, there are problems everywhere. But if you only think about the problems, you will never find solutions. Just start. And of course, don't be naive. Sometimes I hear people, they come to me and they say, oh, Carsten, this is a very, very naive advice, because just start. I mean, there are so many problems. Don't you prepare? Yes, of course. But never forget, there are problems that you cannot handle when you just think about them theoretically. Just start and concentrate on your own abilities. You are able to find solutions. Very often founders have a network. They know where to go. They have mentors. They have people like, for example, Sydney Wong or whoever, and they can go to, and they can say, well, I need advice. I need someone who helps me. And they can find people. And this is the reason why I say, don't forget, there will be problems. But don't forget also to start, begin. If you have an idea, start your business, go into the market, let's find out what people think about your product, about your service, about your whole idea. But don't forget to start your business.
Absolutely. That's the one piece of advice which I really work on. And there are so many young entrepreneurs as well waiting who need to just start, because everything is available right now. And it is a lot easier in the pandemic. Thank you so
Yeah.
much, Mr. Carsten. And I'm moving forward to Ms. Sydney Wong. Yeah, Ms. Sydney.
So I would love to put a time constraint on all these different kinds of goals. So the reason would be, if you thought to yourself, how can I start a business in 1 week or 1 weekend? You would actually do something. You would actually have accomplished things much faster and in a much more concrete way. So there are actually videos like that on YouTube and other social medias, where you can find, how can I solve this problem in the quickest way possible? What are the resources I need? Who are my customers? You'd be able to test these out in a much faster way. So if you wanted to solve any problem, try and start it as quickly as possible, but give yourself a very definite time constraint with, defined resources, defined deadlines, and hold yourself accountable. Make sure somebody actually knows what you're doing, and get them to call you back and test you if you've done it, right? So I would definitely put a goal and make a SMART goal with time constraints on it. And if you can't solve that problem, that business problem, in any way, you haven't really moved, then move on to a different problem.
Okay. So thank you so much for your kind advice, and it is really helpful. Now I'm moving forward to Mr. Shikil Sharma. Shikil, what's your advice? Yeah.
Yeah, sure. So I think since Carsten was mentioning about German model of doing things, right? I instantly remembered how it was always said that, be it Southeast Asian countries or your South Koreas of the world, and even Germany, like basically all the big manufacturing units of the world, from where big car companies and automobile companies come, right? So they always were known for a massive long planning. At least, like, if a new business or a new venture has to be started, it was always at least a decade long planning, could last 50 years, even 80 years long planning. So that's the kind of planning that was required. And one of the key reason and rationale behind that planning used to be the fact that, it's a very volatile world. there's very limited funding available, so they have to plan their resources well. They have to plan
Yes,
their unit
absolutely.
economics really, really well. However, with the emergence of tech, it's a very fast-paced world. You like fail fast, right? As they say. So you can start really fast, you can fail really fast, and you can scale really fast. So in this world where you're actually taking no risk at all, if you see in the larger scheme of things, and still you're not starting, then most likely it's the problem is the man in the mirror, not really anyone else. So that I think should be the key thing that you need to think about. That it's a zero risk game if you're starting up. Just give yourself a couple of years, and more so if you're in some place in Europe or even North America where if you worked a couple of years, then government might end up supporting you a couple of years when you're starting up, like those critical years where before you make a first dollar, you might be supported by the social security. So that makes it even better for you. So in such situation, I think if someone's not starting up and and they want to start up and they're not starting up, then it's most likely there's some internal fear, because there are no practical external fears that should be they should be worrying about.
Yes, absolutely. And this is one of the major problem which people like me who are facing, who want to start their own startup right now. And now I'm moving forward to Mr. Sia Vangatiwana. So what your advice, especially in the continent where I think there are several challenges the young entrepreneur are facing. So what your key recommendation for that, Mr. Sia?
Shubham, you know how entrepreneurs, they are always stuck or tightly coupled to their ideas. You can't
Yeah.
tell them otherwise. They're always tightly coupled to their ideas and they don't want to try something else. So I would say that look at the problems that exist either in your area or in other particular market that you can potentially provide solutions for. Do a competitor analysis, right? So if you're going to start
Okay.
something in the banking or finance or in fintech, in other countries where there are 47 other competitors, they've got all the resources and stuff, it's going to be difficult for you to actually crack it in the market and find a product market fit, right? So, and then
Okay.
I would say, thirdly, look at the resources that you have. If, as an example, you want to start a health tech solution, right? And then you know that there are regulations in your respective country that it will take you at least maybe 9 months or whatever the case might be, just to go through all the regulations and get the certifications that you need before you can start.
Yeah.
Determine that, do you actually have the resources and the time to go through the entire process until you can build something, whether it's going to work or whether it's not going to work, that's another thing. So the last thing I would say, I would resonate with Sydney, I would say, put a time constraint into starting a business. Try something, dedicate all the resources. If things doesn't work within the time frame that you've actually worked out, is either try different market or just try finding other problems that you can solve.
Yeah, for sure, completely. That's a very insightful recommendation.